Hey guys, I'm back with a video, and I went out and bought this Amazing Spider-Man 606 because it was PGX. I got a good deal on it for it being a 9.8, but I mainly just wanted to see it for myself, kind of compare the cases, and just determine which, if the rumors are true or whatnot. And yeah, so let's get started. So initially I bought this 9.6 CGC, and first of all, I apologize for the for the noise, for the fan noise. It's kind of hot today, and my bunny's over here taking a nap, or trying to at least. So I initially bought this 9.6, this CGC 9.6, and let's just put it here in the middle. And I like the cover art. I'm a really big fan of anything Campbell does when he's drawing women specifically. And so I bought this, and I got the 606, 601 as well, all 9.6. And then I ended up running into a deal for these 9.8s. The seller kind of made a mistake on eBay where he was selling 607, 606, and 601 9.8, but he only had this one as his main picture, like the thumbnail when you're scrolling through eBay, and you kind of see the little pictures, and then you see the descriptions or the titles. And he only had one picture, and when you're selling a lot of books, like a lot, as like in like 2, 3, or 4, you should try to bunch them up and take a picture of them together. That way people know that's what they're buying. So I think a lot of people just glossed over it, thinking it was, overpriced for one book. And I think myself, I kind of just, glossed over it once or twice here and there. And then I clicked on it one day, and it was actually the 3 books. So I ended up getting these for under, I think it was under like 500. And 601, the Mary Jane on the Couch, that one goes for about, I don't know, like almost $400 alone. So at least it does these days. I don't know when you're watching this, but so then I ended up being, having 2. So now I can get rid of these 3, and I picked up this PGX that I wanted to see for myself, and then I could just sell it later, or send this one in to get cracked and signed by Campbell later on, or whatever. So let's compare these slabs, and I'll give you my opinions and my thoughts. And there's nothing better than like having them in hand, right? So right off the bat, for display purposes, I feel like either or, CGC or CBCS is fine. The cases, the new cases for both of these are very clear. They're not opaque, and the comic books look very, very bright. I do have them in bags right now, third-party bags, not the CGC or the CBCS ones. But so for display purposes, these 2 are really cool. I don't know about this one. There's nothing wrong with the quality of the case. It's very sturdy and very strong. There isn't a bend to it. It's similar thickness to the CGC slab. I apologize, I will be moving these around quite a bit. So the thickness is similar, but the PGX slab is shorter. And of the 3, the CBCS slab is the thinnest. Yet it's kind of beefier. In a way, it feels stronger than the CGC for some reason, or up there. It is slightly taller, thinner, and so in terms of height, this is how they go: CBCS, CGC, PGX. In terms of thickness, I think PGX goes smack in the middle. So CBCS being the thinnest, PGX being slightly thicker, and CGC being the thickest. Now, I'll talk about features of the slabs, and what I mean by features are like the CGC slab has a little lip all around the border, and the top has a little lip, and in the back it has a bigger lip. So when you have them in a box, stored away, it's easy to not only, read the label, right, to know what you're gonna grab and know the grade, but it's also easy to pull it out because there's a lip, right? So you're less prone to like it slipping, dropping, getting cracked, things like that. The PGX slab it has a lip, but I want to say it's like half the depth. It's like half the depth of the CGC slab. The slab isn't heavy by any means. It's definitely lighter because it is a smaller slab. But in terms of like the back is flat compared to the CGC slab, which has like a cavity here. Again, the lip is more pronounced. CGC's lip is hardly noticeable, but it does help you grab the slab. It's not totally flat, but the lip is just very subtle. And so those are kind of the features of the slabs. They're not, PGX it doesn't have give to it. It's pretty sturdy. So props for that. They're all pretty sturdy now, right? These updated cases now, they're all fine and secure. So now that we went over the sizes and the features, I would compare the slab. The slab for PGX is a mixture of CGC and CBCS, because CBCS is flatter than CGCS, than CGC, my bad. A lot of C's and S's and all that shit today, so I will get these mixed up, but you know what I mean. It's a lot flatter than CGC. It does have a little border, a little lip, but it's very subtle, just like the PGX case does. The CBCS though, I mean, when you look at the top of the label, Amazing Spider-Man 607, it's very clear to read, just like the top of the CGC one. It's super clear. The PGX one, like, I don't want to bash on them too much, but it's kind of like, it's super clear to read because it's white on, it's a white label here at the top. But it looks, just the label itself, now moving on to the label itself looks amateurish, if I could say so myself. I don't know if you guys are familiar with EGS. I don't have any EGS slabs. Maybe I will in the future, I don't know. And I don't know if you're familiar with like DIY slabs, where you don't have to send your book to get graded, but if you wanted to, you could, grade it, like not grade it, but you could give it a grade, like a 9.2, a 9.6, print out the label. I forget the company's name, but and you make your own slab, and it's not the pros. It's not the Comic Ultra Pro supplies. Those are like magnetic clip-on cases. This is like it's like you slab it, and it has like 3 little bumps on the top, like 3 little notches. And the EGS slabs have the same. I don't know who their supplier is, but the mold is the same, because the EGS slabs will have like 3 little notches at the top as well. That's what this label looks like. It looks like a DIY. I know what they were going for. They were going for, okay, let's look like CGC. The grade is easy to read, but the label just looks like, it doesn't look professional. It looks DIY. I don't know if it's the font. I'm not sure if it's the font. I'm not sure if it's like the reverse gradient from like blue to white instead of white to blue. I don't know what it is, but there's something about the label that just isn't appealing to the eye, And I feel like a lot of people have had this same opinion, but nobody can really put their finger on it. It just looks lazy, I think, is the best way to describe it. And you know, apart from, you know, the drama with CBCS losing 300 plus comics in 7 different submissions, and CGC, you know, CGC having their grading all over the place, their quality control being terrible, and, you know, the PGX drama, which I'm not, you know, that knowledgeable on. Aside from all of that, we have these in hand, and we're just taking in our initial thoughts and the feeling that we get of holding it and looking at it, right? This is just, you know, the background aside, these are just my thoughts. I feel like I wouldn't buy a PGX slab for the same price as I would a CGC or CBCS slab. I would pay less for these. Let's just imagine that these are all 9.8s or 9.6s, whatever, the same grade. I would be willing to pay the same amount for these two, even though I know that a CBCS slab, for whatever reason, commands a lesser price tag. You know, they're usually a little cheaper. I would pay the same amount for these two if they were the same grade than I would for PGX slab if it were the same grade. For the simple fact that this would bother me. The label would bother me. I just feel like there's less effort put into the label. You know, there isn't any holographic, you know, logo or anything letting me know it's on the back, but it's not on the front. And that's kind of bothersome because it just looks like a DIY. If you guys just look up videos of DIY slabs, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And I don't know, if I just feel like this would benefit a lot from just having that sticker in the front, because no one is looking at the back of slabs. Like, if you go over someone's house, you know, and it's in a frame, like a slab frame, and it's up on the wall, it's on display, it's whatever, you know, you appreciate the book for the front. And I feel like a big part of the slab is also the label, hence, you know, CGC capitalizing on custom labels and stuff like that. So I feel like if, you know, PGX have something going for them, but they would just, with just minor tweaks, you know, just the label being more polished, more professional looking, I feel like they would have something good going for them, something very good on their hands. I know they don't give any graders notes, even if you ask for them. Their website is super dodgy. Like, I'm telling you, their website looks like just a DIY thing, you know. And maybe it did start like that. Like, I don't know who the owner is. I don't know, you know, who's behind it or anything, so I can't really speak on that. But this just looks like an off-brand of something, like the Chinese version of a product, you know, something you could find on AliExpress of these two, something you could find on you know, like Etsy, like DIY stuff. And don't get me wrong, some of the stuff on Etsy is pretty good, but this just looks like someone did it at home type of thing. And this is as good as it's gonna get, you know, for someone who has the capabilities of doing this at home. This is just what it looks like. It doesn't look clean cut professional like these two do, but I feel like PGX has something going for them, you know. And in terms of branding and stuff, I'm not like a graphic designer or anything. I'm actually not even going to school for that. But just as like a comic book collector, you know, they have certified in their name, right? Like, I don't know what PGX stands for, but if you have certified in your name, you can't do like CGX or something like that, just to keep up with CGC, CBCS. It would just sound better if you know, PGX is just a very big distinction, and not in a good way, because we know that you're like completely different, right? You know, CGX, doesn't even sound bad. It actually rolls off the tongue pretty easily if they upgraded the label just a little more professionally, a little more polished, less lazy. You know, starting with the sticker on the front. You know, I just feel like they would just do themselves a big favor. I'm not knocking this Slab at all, but in terms of like which one I'd rather display, I'd rather display this one, or this one. You know, like, it's just that simple. I'm just switching these around because the lighting is different in the middle. So let's actually move these around. Put this one in the middle. But you know, if you walked into, unless it was like some grails, like early Spider-Mans, right? Like under 20 or under 15, under 10, and it was in a PGX Slab, I don't think you would care. But if it's a modern, it's kind of dicey. It's kind of, I wouldn't really want to buy it, especially when there are other alternatives. I don't know. I feel like, and I'm gonna be honest, this video is kind of inspired by a post from someone I follow on Instagram. They're called, I think their page is like 9.9 newsstand or something like that. I forget, but they had reasons as to why they, you know, the pros and the cons to CGC, PGX. I don't think CBCS was included in their post, but, and I agree with everything he had to say, but these are just my thoughts and opinions. PGX slabs aren't bad. They're not bad, you know, but they're not my go-to. I'll just say that. They're not my go-to. They would have to update the label, maybe a little more information, maybe grader's notes on the back as to why it's a 9.8. You know, these guys have links to their grader's notes, if they have any, and I know that the new CGC labels do as well. They have like a QR code. But yeah, I feel like PGX could have like something going for them if they really wanted to. They could make something totally different, make it look more professional, more polished. And yeah, it would just be major for their brand and for their slabs. Because like CBCS is probably the biggest slab here. It just feels a tad bit wider, and it's taller and it's thinner. It just feels really nice in the hand. CGC kind of feels more thicker. So there's something about, you know, phones when they got, you know, smartphones when they got thinner, there was just something about the thinness that people really liked, and I get that feeling from the CBCS slab. And the PGX one is fine. The size is good. It's the smallest one here. You know, it's easy to handle. You're not going to drop it. It's not too big, you know, to maneuver, to handle, to move around, to look at. But as far as the grading goes, this is a 9.8. I'll give them that. Like, I'm not here to talk about misgrades or controversy or nothing like that. I'm just here to talk about what the slabs feel like and what the labels and what they look like. But as far as the 9.8, I feel like this is a true 9.8. Just as a side note, as this one is. And I'm not really sure why this is a 9.6. I mean, maybe there's some waviness on the spine that could have been pressed in it. This book doesn't look like it was pressed. But yeah. But thanks for watching. Leave your opinions in the comments below. Like my video. I would greatly appreciate it. And check out my channel. I have decent amount of books. I have decent amount of content. I'm just starting out, so peace. Thank you.